guys at Drift Week 6. Your favorite Drift Week driver, Jamal, here. We just had a meeting at Cam's Acres in Oklahoma. Drivers are starting to get on track and do their thing. Kareless is working up some food for everybody. Some of the drivers have broken, some are just hanging out. Some people are just waiting for the perfect shot. Other people are just trying to learn the track and kill it. Either way, it should be a pretty good 2 days here at Cam's Acres.
This is a super fun track. I love it absolutely. I can't wait to go back. I believe my buddy Josh is following me right here. He's a guy that I've been driving with for a good amount of time. I like to go real wide. I know that whenever he's driving behind me. Oh, there he is. He's pretty cool. Josh Robinson, he's been driving in FD for a minute. This is a really cool, fun little part of the track. Let's see. Oh my God. He's always there. We've driven for a good amount of time together. All right, so here I am following Josh, and I absolutely love following this guy. I've been driving with him for a good amount of years now. We've been in Japan. This is that little switchover is my favorite spot, especially like when you get really, really close to the little. Great thing. You can feel the wheel kind of go over. It feels wild. It's really fun. This track is amazing because it's so narrow, and when you get right in there, it feels totally in sync with the driving. All right, so this is a cool entry because it's really fast, and I believe Luke Fink is coming through right there, and it's really awesome getting to drive with this guy. He's super fast. I'm trying to keep up with Dylan. He's going fast as hell. All these guys drove amazing. Look at that proximity. Oh my God. Luke is just such a great driver. Going over this little spot is so much fun because he really does squeeze through that gap.
Wanted to give a huge shout out to Edwin from Kareless and his team. They let me set up my sim here, my new Sim Magic Alpha Mini that I got about 2 days prior to this. The whole setup is just my mobile setup. It's something that can be set up, within 5-10 minutes if I have everything. But again, you can see they were having fun on it. We had a blast. And again, huge shout out to Kareless and Edwin and his whole team for letting us do this. If you guys are interested, they may be setting up something like this in the future. So give them a like, follow them, and stay tuned. made it to the park, and everybody's under attack. Immediately after pulling up, we got shot at by some hooligans in their sports cars. Then after all the fun, it was on to the next stop. I got the boys a private day at a friend's track. After getting the private track secured, we headed out. All us Mustang boys headed out to my buddy Walker's place. We got a little lost, but eventually we found it. This was a super fun experience for everybody because it was just a random track day in the middle of nowhere almost. And it was really cool because I knew the guy. Shout out to Walker. The next day we are on our way to Hallett. I wasn't trying to push the car too much because the transmission at this point only had about 1,300 miles on it. So it was cutting it tight for break-in stuff. But luckily I would only have to keep it in one gear with my gearing, so I wasn't worried too much about it. So Hallett was a super hard track. The elevation was super hard on my car, and the fact that I couldn't really grip up, or I was only gripping up essentially. I couldn't really break the rear end loose on the uphill section no matter how fast I was going. I just had too much grip. But after that first uphill, the rest of the course was pretty easy for me. I even linked the back end, which was an uphill into a double apex, into like a downhill and uphill sweeper. It was pretty cool, but again, it was super challenging, and even though I only did a few laps, I had a lot of fun. I also did a few ride-alongs with a few people, and one of the guys I got to ride along with was Ben Hobson. Ben is a super cool dude, and I've known him since he actually got his Formula D Pro Spec license, and he's just a real humble guy. He's got real cool cars, and he just knows a lot about what he's talking about, and he's always down to learn. And in that, he actually asked me, hey, do you think I could improve my line? What do you think I can do driver to driver, is what he said actually. And I was like, well, I think you're kind of trying to take the course as if you were to be grip racing to kind of get that speed that you need, like everybody said. But I think what you're doing is you're going on the outside and then the inside and then the outside again, like you would be grip racing, you know, trying to get that maximum speed. But I think what you should do is go the outside, middle, outside, and it will kind of help you carry that speed that you need to keep sideways. And he kind of shook his head and was like, oh. And then the next lap out, he applied that. After leaving the hotel, we had to make our way back to Dallas. Once we got back to Dallas, I broke off from Kenny a little bit and stayed at my house, and Kenny just stayed at his relative's place, and then we met up at ECU Masters later. And rode some crazy karts. Had to show a few people how it was done a little bit, and then the pro drivers got on. After chilling with the ECU Master guys and getting some questions answered and some food, we decided to go ahead and get everybody with the group and go ahead and convoy on to the next spot, which would be our Airbnb down in Houston. Took us a while to get there, but once we got there, it was a pretty nice location. The whole house was pretty cool, and we had enough room to set up my sim and have more fun. The next morning, we were on our way to Houston Police Academy. Now, I had never been here before, so I wasn't really sure what to do or what to go, but the key to any success is act like you've been there before, and I definitely know how to do that. After a little driver's meeting, a little slideshow, a little breakfast from Kareless, a little maintenance on the Mustang, and I was ready to go. I didn't do too many laps, but the ones I did were definitely something else. Didn't take me too long to get used to the course, but I will say the front sweeper is kind of challenging. Everything else is kind of a walk in the park.
Today, and we're going to go through a couple of laps at Houston Police Academy. Houston Police Academy was pretty sick. I hadn't really driven many tracks before in my life. Like, I'm from Albuquerque, so the only track I'd really driven is this and Musselman in Tucson. So being able to be on Drift Week and drive all these different tracks was pretty incredible for me. This track overall seemed like a pretty good party track. Going through like the straight, you get a lot of speed on this sweeper, which was cool because it wasn't bad if you went off, so you had a lot of confidence to chuck it in there as fast as you can. And so getting comfortable for me with like third gear entries and staying in third around to that sweeper was really cool. And then like the last half of the track got pretty technical. I felt confident in the car at that point, and I was really starting to understand where I was faulting with my driving. So Houston was like a great time for me to just focus on like leads and making sure that I understood the car as best as I could so that I could start getting comfortable with tandems for the second half of the trip. So yeah, coming into here, they hadn't set the cone up right there, so you could get a pretty fast third gear entry. And then from there, it was either keep it in second or stay in third, or keep it in third and go down into second. Through the track here was really nice. This first section flowed super well. And then like once you're second for the whole track, so you kind of dipped higher on some of these little outer edges. This was the tricky part, trying to make that transition quick and then make it last long enough to get to that X that's in the middle of that oval there.
Yeah, I mean this entire first day, look at that. That's pretty deep. That's a little bit deeper than you probably should be, but it was fun to get the car onto that backside bank and maybe lift the tire. But I was trying my best to use as much of the track as possible because I'm practicing leads. So I want to learn to have enough space for the drivers behind me that everybody can be comfortable and run the line that they need to make it around the course. Yeah, this whole first day at Houston was like really learning the car and getting my lead runs dialed so that when I started doing tandems with people, like they would be comfortable that I'm throwing down a good line. I'm not like all over the place. I am where I need to be so that they can be where they need to be. That's what's important in competition. I didn't really initiate as wide on that one. See, this one I was like, okay, I probably shouldn't be going out that wide, so maybe I'll try and keep it on the flat plane. But over here, like, try and get the car into that. Use as much of the track as there. Like, that you can see all the tire marks out there. That's where you need to be. Looking through there. So I was being pretty cautious with the ramps at this point, and then really far out there, I probably clipped it a little bit.
So after hopping in a few people's cars and showing them what's what and trying to help people where I could, getting some food, swapping wheels, started to develop an issue with the front. It started to kind of wobble on me. So I decided to change them. And then when I started doing that, I started to get interviewed by this huge old crowd.
Over here is Jamal. Jamal is a local drifter.
What up?
He's on Drift Week. This is the second one.
Third.
Super reliable. Oh, is it third?
2, 3, 4, and 6. 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You're on number 2?
Yeah, I drove a little bit, but I had to leave.
Oh, okay. I don't remember anything. This is a Mustang. It's crazy reliable. It's a great chassis. They're just kind of heavy. This is the last body style before they went to electronic racks, which gets really difficult to steer, which I'll show you with Ben options in a second. Back there is David Mester. He drove in Formula 2. Driver, he drives with me all the time in the Crazy X100. That's a Corvette. Anybody know Adam?
So after I did all that, you know, I hit the track and the front end just kind of started wobbling a little bit. It didn't stop me from drifting, but I definitely felt like something was up. So we adjusted tow and tried to fix what we could, but in the end, I think it was just something that I couldn't figure out. I don't want to give it away, but I didn't find it out that day, so I'll leave it to when I actually did. Huge shout out to Ben Hobson for getting on that door. Tried to go as wide as possible so he can get up in there and we can tandem. He's a Formula Drift driver. He definitely knows what he's doing, so I definitely wanted him to be there. I was going to let him drive my car for this event here, but I mean, he was having so much fun in his car and he was just doing laps after laps, so I was like, you know what, let's do some laps together too. Why not? And as you can see, he was all on my door, just getting it, and I was just letting him. You know, it was a good experience for both of us. And I think shortly after this, I popped a tire, so I had to go back, but it's definitely fun. Day 2 at HPA. I started to get the camber plates out, and the toe plates out, excuse me, and I tried to adjust it as best as I could, but after some time and getting lazy, I just figured I'd send it. Probably go get an alignment somewhere properly, just because it was my first time and I didn't know what I was doing, past somebody kind of telling me, but I didn't let it ruin my day. After making it to the gas station, we were about ready to go to Speedsportz. Just a quick fill up and some donuts. back in like we're cool. So Speedsportz is one of my favorite tracks. I'm super glad that I was able to come back here for Drift Week. I've been to this track many times before, but I've never been in the Mustang, and I just know that the Mustang would just rip the track apart. It would just do everything I wanted to, like it's been doing. And after having the knuckles come a little bit loose, we got them welded up, and then after that, the Mustang was doing great again. They came a little loose because I think they just didn't have enough grease in them, and just over the year and a half or so of me drifting, they just kind of wallered out the knuckle. But again, we got it welded up and fixed, and right after that I was able to give my sponsor some rides and kind of take the Mustang around track and kind of really put the pedal down, and it just again did everything I wanted it to.
This. I got up early this morning, a couple of stops along the way, and I'm at my first drift event. I'm super excited to be here. Had an amazing experience riding with Jamal, much more than I could ever even imagine. Surprisingly fluid and smooth. After taking my helmet off, I've realized there's this surprising level of ambition that it takes to get out on the track, just like it is getting out in the contracting world. There's a level of an accountability that it takes to do things the right way and do what we say we are going to do. Thank you for joining us. We're going to continue with the rest of our amazing track day, and if you found this interesting, please feel free to contact Nick James Contracting Services so we can come help you transform your interior and exterior living space.
the main part of it is seat time. And seat time is literally everything to me. In this sport, I think the biggest key in driving in tandem, in any kind of drifting like application, is literally seat time. How much time you have behind the wheel and how often you can see it in front of you as far as chasing or changing directions or anything else in front of you. So as far as Drift Week, what it means to me is seat time.
For me, it was just a big learning experience, really. Helped me find my place where I'm at as a driver and just showed me a lot. There's a lot of opportunity to learn here, if that makes sense. Just do it. I'm a nobody from Colorado, and I got a stock car, and I hit up Aaron just on a whim, and he let me in. So if you want to do it, go do it. Just don't think too hard.
What does Drift Week mean to me? I think the biggest thing is the people. There's amazing people along the trip, good vibes, everybody's just here to have a good time. If it weren't for the people here, I think it would be a completely different experience. Everyone's helping each other out. You're broken down on the side of the road. They're gonna stop and try to help, lend you some parts, give you some used tires if you want to. So it's all about the people for me. The driving is phenomenal, obviously, but if it weren't for the people, it would be a completely different experience.
Crazy adventure, incredible memories, insanely challenging, and just like living at the highest level. Like, it's been amazing.
What I can realize now is that Drift Week is absolutely the place to go where you want to find yourself and your car, and the driving. I mean, finding your style, finding yourself with your car and your chassis, with more seat time that you would ever have in a normal season on the events that you would normally have during the season. So yeah, absolutely.
You can have all the time in the world to plan for Drift Week. It is an experience that will, like, I don't know how to explain it. It like kind of kicks your teeth in a little bit, but in like a really memorable and fun way that you wouldn't trade for the world. But it definitely still kicks your teeth in. It's not like a vacation. It's like its own weird class of thing. But yeah, it definitely means perseverance. It definitely means improvising and working with what you got.
Drift Week means breaking everything and getting frustrated and pissed off at all your friends. But then making up because it's drifting. We love each other.
Drift Week means meeting new friends, hanging out with lots of new people, and seeing new places. It's more of like a, I don't know, it's getting to go to all the new tracks, new places, you know, yeah, just that basically. New people, new friends, new places, new tracks. If you're getting into drifting, just seat time is king, and something like Drift Week is obviously fantastic for that, but, you know, get yourself in a position where you can get to the track as much as possible. You don't just get born good, you know what I mean? You gotta get seat time. Seat time's absolutely everything. No matter who you are, you gotta get seat time.
Hey, congratulations! Good job, man. Absolutely amazing driving. Look at that. That's a real sword. Alright, we have James Deeb over here. So just take a moment and think about what we've done in the past 2 weeks, culminating in like just doing a normal Lone Star drift event, but with some of the best drivers in the world. It's so freaking cool. So I'm glad you guys have all been a part of it, and like, wow, you're over here.
Drift Week to me is getting to create a big experience for a ton of people that have been in drifting for a long time to like be a part of, and gives us something to get excited for that's not our normal, like, I've been drifting for decades and I don't want to do the same thing and I, you know, like always do. I want something more. I want to drive more. I want to do different tracks. I want to like have new experiences. I want to be around my friends more. I want to do all these different things. So I just kind of made something that like clicked those boxes. So yeah, we just keep accomplishing so much. We've had like the best drivers in the world drive with us. We have so many, like, if you're driving with us, we're driving with James Dean and Matt Field and Kelsey Denofa and, you know, all these amazing drivers. Forrest Wang jumps in for a day in this FD car. Odie and Rad Dan, and just like, it's so cool that we're doing these things and we get to get away with it and do it. It's just, it's surreal all the time. Oh, this was a lot of fun. It's so much work, so much excitement, so much like friendship, so much, all these different things we're doing. I'm having a great time. I can't believe we're so fortunate to get to do this, and like all these drivers come out with me and do it. I couldn't do this without the drivers, without the tracks, without, you know, people paying entry fees, without companies being involved, sponsors, you know, friends, my family. I mean, it's so much, and this is like completely over the top that I spend this much time a year in a drift car doing crazy stuff. I'm having a great time. Are you?